Hello everyone and welcome back to another Movie Nights movie review. Today we're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Heroes in a Half Shell.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I don't know why that was so funny to me. But yeah, it's directed by Jeff Rowe, produced by one of the producers is Seth Rogen.
Permanent teenager Seth Rogen.
Correct.
As the marketing will have you believe.
Yes, and we'll dive into this right away. It was good.
I very much enjoyed that movie.
I liked it a lot. The two big takeaways are obviously the animation. It looks gorgeous. It felt like it was written on high school sketch paper. There's fingerprint smudges. There's hard lines. It's beautiful. I love the animation. The other thing is the film's heart and the camaraderie with the turtles. Out of the park. Like, nailed it. I could have just watched the turtles hang out in the city for 2 hours. Like, just absolutely nailed it.
It's almost like the benefit of hiring teenagers to play actual teenagers.
Yeah, and I looked it up later, and I actually found out that they recorded their lines together, like in the same room.
That must have been annoying, but I think that's definitely worth it. Because
I think so too.
It's also giving the actors a time to bond.
I agree, and it really, really worked. Splinter was great in the film.
He was very funny.
Yep. All the villains, the mutants.
The way they changed his backstory and how he learns to fight was so good in the movie with the full spoiler review.
Yes, spoilers.
Just
spoilers.
The Kung Fu DVDs and everything was very good.
It was very good. Dude, Ice Cube as Superfly was so fucking good.
I think he might have been my favorite character.
He was great. I thought the action was good too. There's a particular scene where it's just a tracking shot, or not a tracking shot, but it's like an old boy hallway shot almost. But it keeps cutting, and it's just different turtles.
It's like 4 different.
Yeah.
Them going into 4 different warehouses. And cutting with No Diggity playing, which is always a great song choice.
Of course, yes. And diving into more spoilers, the most heartbreaking scene in the movie to me, there's 2. They both involve Splinter. One is when he doesn't really know what the boys are up to, but he knows that they want to have like part of the outside world, but he's sheltering them. He doesn't want them to get hurt, so he throws them like a surprise party where he gets like all the pizza and prom and he dresses up as a waiter, and he has like cutout boards of famous people. And the best line in it is he goes, order anything. And he goes, look, I'm a waiter, let me take your order. It could be anything, but it has to be pizza.
It has to be the pizza that I got.
And
that was good.
The other one was when Superfly says the exact same line that he says, and it cuts to him, and he has like this moment of like, oh Jesus, like I haven't been as good of a dad as I thought I was. Like, and they don't say it, you just see it. And I thought that was a well-placed moment.
I liked the whole kind of pivot of, I really vaguely remember like the old one where they're in like the costumes. And then I never saw the new ones where they were
with
like
Michael Bay. Yeah,
I never saw those. But what I liked about this one was I never thought of Splinter as their father. I always thought of him as like this mentor who kind of took him under the wing, but I really like that they sort of embraced this love and father-son relationship, whereas I feel like, unless I'm misremembering, but I really felt that dynamic in this movie compared to the old ones.
You know, I agree, and I also think that their dynamic with April O'Neil was good as well. They all hit puberty at the same time, which was really funny. And I thought that the storylines of them having this, it was almost like growing up. It was coming of age, because it was about them like having this romanticized vision of high school that a lot of young people have before they go into high school, and then talking to April, and April being like, yeah, it's great, but like it's clearly shit. Like they can't stand it. And I love that goal felt so personal. Like they just want to get enrolled in high school. Like I thought that was a very down to earth goal to have, for as crazy as the movie gets. Like that being like the want of the main characters, I thought was really interesting, and I thought it worked well.
And I really liked the play with the villains all being mutants. And this sort of, because you think it's going to go this route where they're going to drag it on for so long that they're not going to realize that they're bad. And they did it immediately, this turn, and just that sort of arc of them realizing, like, embracing what the mutants said about, like, no, there's nothing wrong with us. Like, they need to learn to accept us. And just the turtles taking that to heart and figuring out their own way of doing things.
Exactly,
to become that. I thought worked really well. And again, Ice Cube as Superfly was just so good.
And even Splinter's arc with not trusting humans. It's a beautiful scene when he's in the city, and that human approaches him after he's been hurt, and he like crouches down thinking he's going to beat the shit out of him. And he reaches out his hand and he says, do you need help? Are you okay? Like that was such a good moment.
Well, even when he goes to rescue them from the milking mission, he's like, all humans are still bad except April.
That
and then he just goes on away.
That was so great.
And like you said, the animation was all very well handled, and I'm looking forward to a sequel if they do one.
And that post-credit scene had Shredder.
I wonder who they get to voice Shredder, because they already had a stacked voice cast in this movie.
And I hope they bring Casey Jones into it too.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I think this will definitely get a Best Picture animated feature nomination. I still think it's a lock for Spider-Verse.
I think Spider-Verse has
at this point.
Yeah, I agree. But I thought Spider-Verse was going to go uncontended, and it doesn't.
No.
It's a great film.
I think Spider-Verse just has more rich thematic elements
I
think, and just what they were able to do with their budget.
Dude, they released the first 10 minutes for free on YouTube, and I was just rewatching it, and I was like, fuck, this movie is good. Movie. Like, yeah. I'm going to buy both 4Ks. But
I was never a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, and this turned me into this one, at least for this series of films.
I've always been a casual fan. Like, I watched the ones of them in the costumes when I grew up. I never saw... They made an animated TMNT movie a few, 10 years ago. We're old. And then they did the Michael Bay ones, and I never saw either of them just because I was like, it doesn't look like...
The only thing I knew was I knew all 4 Turtles, I knew Splinter, and I knew Rocksteady and Bebop.
Yeah.
That was where my knowledge ended.
Yeah, and I
am in love with Mondo Gecko. Paul Rudd was great in it.
Yes, that was great. He was great.
I loved in the end credits, I don't know if you caught it, on Paul Rudd's title screen, it said introducing Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko.
Yeah.
I like when movies do that.
Me too. That was really funny. And I wanted to see this movie when I saw Seth Rogen's name on it, just because, one, he's been a fantastic producer recently, and two, when he is a fan of something and he wants to do it right. Like, I've never watched Preacher or, any of the things he's done, but from all accounts, like,
The Boys and Invincible are both very good.
Yeah. You can tell, like, it's him because he really cares about the material. And I feel like if he's going to produce something, it means he really cares about it. So he's earned that reputation with me to where, like, if I see his name on something, like, I'm going to go, I need to watch that, So, and listen.
I think the only negative I have for the movie is I really didn't, and it's only a personal thing, I didn't like the human animation. Like, the look of the humans, it kind of was, like, too jarring for me.
That's fair. My only issue with the movie is that it is kid-skewed, and sometimes when it's building up to in a moment, it just takes the kid skew route of, like, almost like the MCU problem of, like, here's the joke. But I think my big problem with it is I thought the story was a bit messy. For how good the character arcs were and how strong the characters were, the story was messy. And it didn't completely take me out of the movie. Like, it was fine. It just, like, it fell into, okay, we're going to do this in the third act. Like, I see what's going on. And it,
The only thing I'm worried about is a lot of the jokes becoming dated very quickly.
That's true. They are very current technology based.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's not to say it's bad. Like, I think the first Deadpool still holds up, and that's all 2016 references.
And I think that them being teenagers, they're going to make concurrent jokes.
It makes sense within the scope of the movie, which I respect. But in terms of 5 years from now, if I turn them on, am I going to be like, what the hell are they even talking about?
Yeah. I know what you mean. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed the movie. Highly recommend from both of us, I think.
Yes, definitely.
And if you haven't seen it, why'd you watch the spoiler review? But if you have, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next review.